read the rest of them.
Okay. How's it going?
Yeah.
I know, right? Yeah. Oh, okay. You're the communicator. Thank you. It looks so festive out there, right? I just got an email that there are free popsicles at the courtesies of Peter's truck at 11 o'clock. So maybe we could try and end a few minutes so you can get popsicles, right? I'm like, oh, that's fun. Like they look very festive, right? I'm like, I'll go with you. Let's go. Right? 11 o'clock, popsicles, check. Here. Now, if they said chocolate cake, I didn't know. Forget it. Let's go. But I wanted to say I did obviously grade all of your exams. I cannot believe that we're in the last third of the semester at this point. Like it feels like a long time ago that we started, but it feels like it's gone fast at the same time. So we start today our last unit. In this unit, we'll look at contraception and abortion in this unit. Then we'll look at pregnancy and birth, STIs, sexual expression, power and coercion, and selling sex. Those are our topics to come. You do have one more homework assignment that is due in here. It's due on the 12th of November. So you have about 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks from today. So make sure that you're thinking about that. You do have that one more homework assignment. We'll have a final, obviously, and you have a little closing assignment that's due with the final. So all the exams, including the final, are not cumulative. So the last test will just be everything from today forward. Okay, and then there's like a little closing assignment you'll turn in where you'll reflect on the class and like 5 things you can hopefully take away as you close, right? So a couple of stats just to share with you. High score was 100. Very exciting. The low score was 29. The average was 87. And the amount of time, 43 minutes. So that's what I saw in terms of like statistics. So you kind of know where you fell in terms of relation to everyone else. So high score, low score, average was just shy of an A. There were definitely a few kind of lower scores on this one. 29 is an outlier, but there were some like in the 70s and some in the 60s. And then 43 minutes. Okay, so we have, as I said, one more exam. We also have that assignment and the closing assignment. I also want to point out, I mentioned it earlier in the semester, or if I forgot to mention it.
What is the homework assignment that?
It's on the syllabus. It's 2 weeks from today.
Oh, thank God.
11, 12. Yeah, you have some time, right?
Yeah.
It's due tomorrow. 11, 12. You have some time. There is a optional 20-point extra credit opportunity that's on Canvas that you can do at any time before the finals. So if you're like on the edge or maybe it wasn't as good of a test as you wanted or you're missing something, you could always look at that as an option. It's on Canvas. It's worth 20 points. It's related to self-care and mindfulness, kind of like a global assignment. But you're welcome to look at it if you are feeling like you need a few extra points somewhere. Otherwise, what we'll do, as I said, is we'll start chapter 13. I always kind of cover this one in a different way. So we'll introduce it and then I have a little activity that you're going to do. But more importantly, I did bring Halloween candy. It's kind of heavy, so like, but you have to eat it, otherwise I'll eat it. I've already had like 7 Snickers for it, so like, okay, you can pass it around. But pass it around, help yourself. Anyone doing anything fun for Halloween? San Diego? That's fun, right? I'm from Oceanside, I'm from down there. Yeah. Anybody else?
Going to a party.
Nice. Okay, parties are fun. I'm being booted this year. My kids are like, we want to trick or treat alone. I'm like, wait, what?
No.
And I was like, can I come on one street? I was like, that's probably all I can do anyway, right? So I get to go on one street and they're going by themselves for the first time. I'm like, I'm gonna cry. Yeah.
My little brother and I used to trick or treat together.
Yeah.
And this year I'm going to a party. He's like,
What
we're going trick or treating.
Yeah.
He's like 16. I'm
Oh.
like, sorry.
Right? My 13-year-old would take me with her forever. Like, I think like she'd be 40 and be like, we go trick or treating together, but my 11-year-olds are like deuces, we're out, like learning by ourselves. We're like, oh, fine. What are you doing?
We're going to the is it like the white the ship?
Oh, yeah.
You got a Queen Mary.
Hi, have you done that before?
No, but we're going on home.
Oh, cool. I went 14 years ago to that. That's before my daughter was born. It was fun. It's creepy. That ship is creepy because it's old. Like, so it's already creepy, but on Halloween, hope it'd be great. We had a creepy tour guide. His name was Dustin. I remember him all these years later, Dustin, because he would like sneak around secret passages and end up in front of us randomly. And we're like, where did you come from? Like, he was a creepy dude already. And there was like a creepy tour. The pool area is by far the scariest. Like, apparently, thank you, the dressing rooms in the pool was the most haunted part of the ship. And it was scary. They turned off all the lights and then like just left us for 5 minutes. It was memorable. I'm like, I'm not gonna survive this. Have fun. Well, I hope you all have a good Halloween if you celebrate it, and be safe and all those kind of things. We will today talk about birth control methods, contraception, and abortion. So I'm going to introduce it, and then we'll go from there. I kind of usually do like a little more of like a hands-on activity with it. You'll do in groups, so we'll get there in a minute. But contraception and birth control, same idea. Okay, so they're kind of used interchangeably. It's the prevention of pregnancy, either through abstinence or some kind of device or like piece of equipment, if you will, surgical procedure. There's a lot of different ways that you can practice birth control or contraception. Now, some people also use this as like a way of safe sex. So maybe you're not trying to get pregnant, but you're trying to avoid getting like an STD or an STI, as they're referred to now. So typically this is like a very broad category of anything that's going to help you avoid getting pregnant. That's the traditional purpose here. But it also might be to help you with like safe sex so that you don't get an STI. We have evidence of people using some kind of method to avoid getting pregnant since like the beginning of recorded history, right? So ancient Greek civilizations used magic and superstition, and different herbs to help them avoid getting pregnant. The Egyptians would fumigate male like genitalia with herbs before they had sex to avoid potency, to avoid getting pregnant. Wasn't very successful, but it was an early method and practice. Seed pods, grass plugs, and empty pomegranates were shoved up into the vaginal canal to prevent sperm from making their way up. As you can imagine, that led to a lot of infections and irritation and issues, but early methods to block sperm. The most like primitive condoms were made out of sheep intestines, right? So sheep intestines were put over the penis to prevent sperm from being able to go up into the vaginal canal, right? So there were a lot of unsuccessful efforts, but efforts being made in the past. If we look at our country, we have kind of people who were pioneers and people who were blockers of birth control. But so one of the first people to really fight birth control being available was a man named Anthony Comstock back in the 1870s. Anthony Comstock believed that if we made birth control available, people would just go out and have sex. That's still a common like argument against birth control, but he thought that it was obscene, that the only legitimate way to prevent pregnancy was abstinence, so to not have sex. And then there were two women, Catherine McCormick and Margaret Sanger, I combined them into one, who were big proponents for fighting the availability, trying to make birth control available specifically to women, like with the development of the pill and so on. So we kind of have this like back and forth throughout history. And that is still the case now, okay? That like birth control methods are often controversial. There's a lot of people who believe they should be available, and then a lot of people who believe that they're like obscene. Okay, so we go back and forth throughout time. Lots of different rulings back and forth by the courts, even all the way until today. Okay, so this is something that tends to be very, very controversial. As I said, it remains controversial today. A lot of people use some form of contraceptive or birth control, right? It's estimated that like 60% of couples today, it used to be like 10% back in the 60s, but these are so much more available than they used to be. And we've gotten better and better with our different birth control methods. It's desirable for a lot of reasons, right? Like being able to enjoy intimacy without the fear of pregnancy, right? So you can have sex or like some form of intimacy without worrying about getting pregnant, with protecting yourself from STIs, reducing abortions and unwanted pregnancies. Abortions even more controversial, falling within this category, but even more so than some of these methods. Helping to alleviate overpopulation in some countries where that's a big issue. Expanding women's access to higher levels of education. Oftentimes people who get pregnant at a young age, then it is a barrier to education and a barrier to their success and economic opportunity. Tends to be very controversial within religion. Okay, the correlation between religious groups and birth control is not the best one, right? Looking at, it's quote been called a blasphemous mockery of God's plan for the family. Okay, so the idea of, this being something where you're mocking the plans that some higher power had for you, even more restrictive and controversial when you add in a religious component. So just know that this is something that's been around for a very long time. A lot of people use some of one of these methods we're going to talk about, but it's very, very like controversial and still is to this day. Yeah. Did you have a question, thought? Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about like some of the like barriers of like sharing responsibility and sharing costs and so on. Also important to be having conversations with partners about this kind of stuff. So this should be something that is like falls on both parties, right? The stereotype is like, well, a guy should bring a condom, right? Like if he wants to have sex, or like that you should have something to that effect. But this really like should be a shared discussion that you have before any kind of intimacy. And I have a clip of this. I always think of the movie Knocked Up, if you've ever seen that movie, where they're trying to have this conversation in the moment where they're both drunk and they're having like sex for the first time and they barely know each other. That's not the moment to have this conversation, ideally, right? Like, and so when she says like, oh, forget it, like he like just assumes she means like, don't even worry about it, right? And like, go ahead and have sex with me, and she gets knocked up, hence the name of the movie. So just a quick clip of that, of like when this isn't the best time to have the conversation, maybe. I'll play that for you, then we'll come back. Smart, right? Having them in that moment could lead to like miscommunication, and he's struggling to put it on. Human error, we'll talk about that a little bit more later, is one of the most common reasons why these things fail. So reading and discussing options together, sharing expenses. Some of these are expensive, right? Like condoms, even the most commonly available things, which you can get for free at our student health center, as a side note, can be expensive. Right. And some of the like more like surgical things, female condoms, some of the longer lasting ones, the pill, depending on your insurance, they can be pricey. So talking about this, like what is our goal? What are we trying to avoid or not avoid? Sharing expenses, all those things should be things that you do in theory with whoever you're being intimate with. A couple of other things, something to note, as of today, right? And I double checked this week, still true. As of today, it's important to remember there's currently not an ideal method. What we mean by that is one that is 100% effective, completely safe, with no side effects, is reversible, separate from sexual activity, inexpensive, easy to obtain, usable by either sex, and not dependent on memory. Other than abstinence, so not having sex or intimacy, there is not a current 100% effective method. Yeah. They're not, well, so they're not 100%. They're usually in the like 90s, right? But they're not 100%. They're often not inexpensive, right? They require surgery, like a mild outpatient like procedure. I won't say surgery, but a procedure to put them in. So they definitely have side effects.
Also, you can get infections.
You could, and they're not always effective, right? They have a lot of issues, even condoms. Okay, so they fit some of these things, but not others. So one that fits all of them, other than abstinence, sadly, not yet, right? Yeah. So hard to tell sometimes, not right? Yeah, no.
And then I was all like,
That's definitely, right? Like, sometimes you'll see into where it's like the string has wrapped around them in some way, like, no, the string's like this, like, no. They can in theory fall out,
yeah.
but it's not the most common thing. No, like intrauterine device, so they are planted up like past like the cervix, right, or like in the area of the cervix, depending on the device. So, that one is like implanon. Those are like there's a technical name for them, but there's a bunch of different ones where they put them in the arm. Implanon is the most common one. And it's like a small little device here.
Yeah.
IUDs is intrauterine device. It's up through like the vaginal canal. Was there a
What is it called when like? I don't remember, but never mind. There's like this term I can't remember.
sure
I was gonna ask, but
like vasectomy?
yes,
Yes, I'm like, ooh, like I got it. All right, piece of candy for me.
Is that like affected, like, can you still get pregnant when a man has a cycle?
Very, very unlikely. So like, I won't say it's zero, but it's really, really unlikely. And they aren't always reversible. Sometimes they're even reversible as well. It's just, but it's a surgery. It's expensive, it has side effects, all those things, but very minimal chance of pregnancy with a vasectomy. It's close to zero. Yeah.
I know this is not meant to.
So it depends on your goal, right? Like, so if you're trying to, and who you're having sex with, right? So like two people who are like homosexual, for example, you're not going to get pregnant, but you could get an STI so your goal then would be to avoid an STI, right? So depending on your method of what you're doing, who you're doing it with, and what you're trying to avoid, there are different things. Condoms are very, very effective when used correctly. The problem is they're not always used correct. Was there another, Mars, did you have a?
Oh, I was, well, before you said that, I was gonna be like, there is a birth control method that is 100% effective other than abstinence, and I was gonna say it's that our homosexuality, but,
Right, because two gay men or like two men or two women having like sex of some kind together aren't going to get pregnant,
yeah,
but you could easily get an STI,
That's
right?
true.
Yeah, so again, it's all about like the goal. What are you trying to avoid, right?
but now I have a different, or a question.
Sure.
How do you use a condom correctly?
There are so many ways you can use it. So technically, there are 7 steps to using a condom, right? The first one is to check the expiration date. So if a condom is expired, it won't work as effectively. It's less likely to be effective. And a lot of people forget to do that. The second step with a condom as well, I have one right here, is to,
Oh.
right? I was ready. I'm ready. Not that I would need a condom, but like, I have it just in case. So it's to check that it has the little air pocket. Okay, so very easy. Let's say somebody wants to get pregnant. You could easily poke a tiny little hole in this and check, right? So that it has a little air pocket right there means that it's still intact and it hasn't been opened. This one expires 2 more years. Got lots of time, right? So checking the expiration, checking for that, right? Like those are 2 things that a lot of people forget to do. Putting it on the wrong way is another one, right? So you can put it on backward or like inside out, if you will. So it should roll down, and people sometimes don't do that as well. So there's a lot of like ways that it can be ineffective in that sense, like if you don't use it properly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Was there-
putting the hole in the condom reminds me of that one Fox Burgers, like Christmas episode.
Yeah.
where the-
I haven't seen it, but I've heard somebody's mentioned it
Yeah,
before.
I think it's like a vending machine or something. It's like a vending machine of condoms, and then
Yeah.
he restocks it. Like at the end of the episode, he goes 1, 2, 3, baby, and then he pokes a hole.
Wow, right? Yeah, I
One,
think I've
two,
heard that
three,
before.
baby.
Yep.
Yeah.
And sometimes, so we'll talk about human error, like I have another clip to show you, but people sometimes have the like, well, if one condom's good, 2 are better. Like, that's not true. Like double bagging, it's not going to help you, right? There's a lot of mistakes that people make when they're using birth control methods. It's the #1 reason that birth control methods fail. Human error, right? You don't check those things, you don't use them properly, you don't take your birth control pill at the same time every day, right? Like if you don't take your method at the same time every day, oftentimes they're completely like lose their effectiveness rate, like birth control pills, for example. Not replacing like your like NuvaRing, like at a certain number of days, right? Like human error is the number one reason. Yeah.
I have a friend who used to have a rashes until he fat.
Yeah.
But that was a joke. That's not.
It's totally
I didn't actually believe that.
right. That's good.
But
Right.
yeah, that just reminded me when you're talking about double condom. But
Yeah.
also, I have. Okay, this is like really kind of gross, but I have a friend. My friend's little brother. Told me that he didn't have a condom, so he used saran wrap one time.
Yeah.
And I really hope he was lying.
Yeah. You don't know though, right? Like then you have to wonder. Right.
Yeah, that's pretty sad.
But that whole thought of like the double rapid before it happened, that comes from somewhere, right? And so
Yeah.
you have to wonder, you know that's a joke, right? Like,
Yeah.
but people have that thought of like, and especially people who maybe don't have access to someone who can tell them otherwise, right? Who haven't had like a talk with a parent or like an educator who tells them otherwise. But like, it's logical, right? If one is safe, two is safer, right? Like, that's not a big jump to me. But when you use two, the friction makes them rip, right? And then they become largely. So human error is by like a mile the biggest reason that these fail. And like some of them, like I said, are expensive. A lot of people use backup methods. Not a bad idea, right? Like, so let's say in a heterosexual relationship, you're trying to avoid getting pregnant. A male uses a condom and a woman is on the pill, right? Like that's a backup method. You have two methods and like those ones work really well together, for example, but sometimes methods can kind of interfere. It's also really important to know yourself. Some of these things like the NuvaRing, for example, like requires that you have to put this up inside of yourself. If you're not somebody who feels comfortable touching yourself, this isn't probably the best method for you. If you're not good with remembering to do something at the same time every day, a birth control pill is probably not the best for you. If you don't want a procedure, a surgical procedure, having an IUD put in might not be the best for you, right? So kind of knowing yourself is a big part of choosing the right method, in addition to knowing how to use it properly. So one more clip, and then like I said, I have a little thing that I'll get you into groups for an activity. But 40-year-old virgin, right? Him trying to use a condom, never having used one before, and using it improperly. A little bit of that in the last one too. Where did it go? I'll find it. I saved them in the PowerPoints and I'm all ready to go. And then it's always like, can't find the file, which makes me so mad. Many people like not knowing what to do. When you use your teeth, you could rip the condom as well, creating a small hole, which could be a problem as well for like trying to avoid getting pregnant. So just knowing yourself, knowing what you're using, making these choices ahead of time, all of that is going to set you up for success. We will have a speaker coming in from our health center. In November, they're going to come in to talk about STIs. But as part of their STI presentation, they tell you the things that are available to you free here. And there are a lot of them, right? We have a lot of things that are free for you up at the health center, which is moved right now. I pointed out over there, but that building is closed right now. But the health center has a lot of free stuff for students, which is amazing.
Yeah. Honestly, and even if you don't really kind of use that, it's at least good to have like extra little.
Yeah, well, and they have that too, right? Like you could have extra whatever you might, right? So what we're gonna do from here, I'm gonna have you get into either groups of 2 or 3. Okay, so 2 or 3 people, and then I'm gonna send you up here, and you're gonna grab a piece of paper, which you're gonna write your names and then the information on, and then you're gonna grab one item. I have 10 choices for you, so you can grab one, and then it'll be gone, and you have to choose something else. And then your job as a group, as a duo or a trio, is going to be to research your item. Okay, so what is it? How is it used? What are the benefits and dangers? And then any other relevant information, like how much does it cost? Where do you get it? Oh, hold on, you're ready. So I love the excitement. How much does it cost? How successful is it? Where do you get it? All that kind of stuff. And then you're going to eventually, when we're done, I'll give you a little bit to research it. You're going to kind of share it with the group just from your seat. Okay, you don't have to get up and come up here. But the items that I have, okay, Plan B. I feel like. Okay, I have a diaphragm, which is old, I mean, please, it scares me so much. Somebody took one of the pills that was in here, these are demo, and this was from like 2009. Okay, please, these things don't work, like there's birth control pills, they're like demo only, okay?
Yeah.
Just to put it out there, okay? So
Yeah.
Plan B. Diaphragm. Birth control pills, again, missing one, but I don't wanna know. Then NuvaRing, very exciting. A condom, traditional condom that we've checked, we've even checked the expiration. There's a female condom as well. Okay, I have a patch, right? So birth control patch. Spermicide, vaginal contraceptive foam, all of it there. That's the same Plan B. And then, IUD is the other one. And I think that's it. Those are, and a dental implant, right? Strawberry flavor. Okay, so we have these items. So as a group, you'll pick one item and then grab a piece of paper and go ahead and get started. Use your phones, use your computers, use whatever. Double itself.
Man,
What's the IUD?
The long one.
This one.
go to old school.
With this.
Yeah, the contraceptive foam, and then
Oh,
and then you get set and then you.
Oh, yeah.
alright.
So probably get started in there. Does everyone have an item?
Yeah.
Yes, okay,
Hello.
good.
How does bad boy work?
So again, what is it? How does it work? How do you buy it? How much does it cost? Like, how successful is it? Right, you can write all that right on that piece of paper that you're gonna turn in. But I'll give you some time as a group to reason.
Alright. Review of the benefits and dangers. Right. Thank you. My best lesbian friend.
Like I genuinely. I don't know what that is. No, I've never heard of that, so that's yeah.
I'm guessing it's like a patch you put. I read it on the back, it said it like much forward side. Yeah. As a barrier for use of.
No. Oh. I don't think.
Well, there. Strawberry.
I don't know if that was. Yeah,
Um,
they
um,
own the times of it.
so-
5, 3, 5. I don't know. It's takes it out.
I actually don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, that's, yeah. I didn't, well, we'll, I.
Sorry.
Seems like a plan to take off. Okay, let's
So I think that's the price.
No, it's like a small stop. So,
It says. Oh, you have built out with that? And almost for categories to also be applied if that has a great thing for more than 6 hours.
Right, so, I never remember.
That's helpful for us, like, see what it really.
It's, yeah, that's.
fallen way out of the.
Yeah, it's still,
Yeah.
That's like.
Okay, okay, then you put it, but then if you more, that's also how we. So you put it in your first, and you put that four.
Yeah, I guess realize like, what do you say that's?
Be sure.
Or not,
Like. I feel like.
Yeah.
The guy that.
Once the diagram. Watch it. Can watch it against.
Wait, okay, how do you, wait, what?
Examine the diagram closely.
At
For you, by holding it to the front of the line.
will
Make sure it has no cracks or true holes.
maybe
Take care not to scratch or punch the
This is-
table. It's not used if you arrange it. So
That's really beautiful.
Never heard of that.
always be sure. It's not very good. You should put the stones on, go into, it's possibly that, then the sushi was thrown out. Use the amount of herbicide.
So lots of one very hot. Eighty, oh, that's 80 cents. And if I could slip off really easily. Just it's like a sheet. It's not.
Yeah.
It's like a Halloween.
So you
costume.
made
It's wide.
It's such a cute. You gotta like, yeah.
Oh, that's true.
So where, but you about where you can get it, where you can get it, we're not. So I didn't get an idea where you.
You can get anything from it.
It's literally even.
Yeah.
Thailand. Thailand.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah, Korea.
That's fun.
Oh.
I did not know. That was like.
That's what it was near.
I guess that's the thing.
Yeah,
Like,
let's-
it gets it.
Now it's one, and there's a lot of different.
Well, if you like squeeze it.
Yeah, like different, like.
Yeah.
That was like something you should like where.
That's it.
Because I have like, I think I have.
I've roamed those islands.
I know.
Target. Oh, you know.
I see shit there, I'm like, we get out there and then look at the page.
Well, in long driving.
Yeah, okay, no, I don't.
Wow, okay. Walking up. Yeah.
That's like easy. What?
Oh, you're not.
No, I'm talking.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was my mom friend's birthday as a joke. Sam, this thing is not. Wait, to review
That's really great.
And even one time this man, okay, so I was listening to the delivery section. So I would know what got moved back.
Continuous wearing the diagram and one quick slide.
Like, and so right, some delivery.
Oh,
With long gray, very long, and we didn't have a.
I know that's pretty.
So we were like,
Rare. And then you kind of just.
We turned. It was open. We turned.
Yeah, this is insane.
Yeah, it's in a glass.
And so you.
So you. And then you put it in the box.
Reminds me of those like summer.
Oh my god.
Or like ice cream like them and then.
Sexual.
And then we're just another inside of it. Yeah. And then they have to take it out. Yeah. It's policy. I'm glad on be like. Oh, God. It's gonna be free. I guess.
And you have to rub some herbicide around it.
Okay, we can.
I can't find the store, it's like, it's not, like, I looked for it, and I was like, this, dentist.
It was Walmart. No, baby. Yeah.
Oh, Walmart, yeah. And then
There's
there's.
6 to 8 hours speed.
I feel like if we at local settings, I've never.
Yeah.
Insert it in one of these. Filling out like super. It'll be like.
I know how to make. No, I know that
That's what I'm saying.
You don't wanna be your friend.
Really? It's pretty cool. It's just. I know what like it doesn't make at least like. I'm not in there, but we're good.
Go for like a long way.
You
Great.
Yes, it's just that little.
Flashlight.
They give you a long string.
Walmart sex stores, yes, so, and then parties. It looks stupid, probably can't.
So I'm gonna give you like 5 more minutes, try and wrap up your thoughts and then figure out who wants to share. You can kind of break it up, but one person can share. But just bring your seat, but figure out who wants to share with you.
The best way to get those is from what I got. Versus,
Yeah.
I have literally never seen those. I've been in a few.
Oh, this is good. This is ground.
I mean, it's like, that's loud.
There you go.
Says it was
No, I'm just learning because I'm. Yeah,
It's like, if I take a shit, I feel like I takes you.
Yeah, I actually.
I actually feel like.
I took it out, I got one of those stamps with the, it's onto my notebook. Yeah.
So, you know that I have followed. This is actually.
How long's your data?
This is.
Oh, I wish I had this idea to just like, take one of the bookmarks and get just like, where like bookmarks, you see, give it to one of the operetta.
Oh, I haven't been out there. It looks really pretty well. It's like, how old are they hanging out?
Oh, yes, I do.
Really?
Yeah, we paid around, I think it's like 4 months. Corner, like, okay.
Yeah, I think a whole.
What's Bridget A?
The fuck?
Exactly.
But I know first.
Yeah, I know Monday was pets.
Yeah.
They're gonna be right.
Okay, you were still there.
You know, we're judging tonight.
Yeah.
You guys were judging tonight? This is fun.
That's what I'm saying.
Cannot totally try it, like we're judging.
I'm not
Yeah,
trying.
maybe this thing goes really well and like. we're all-
Okay.
I mean, it's literally, it's.
No.
Yeah, maybe you think like your partner is like, right? I was trying to get her.
You want to taste stuff?
It doesn't taste good, it's.
Exactly, that's what this is. Exactly. Like instead of tasting vaginal fluid, it's tasting strawberry.
That's hard. Wait, so it's like, I'm so sorry for staying.
Alright, so just another minute, so start wrapping up your thoughts.
Wait, what did they say the phone? Oh, cheap, flavorful. Flavorful. Colorful.
Convenient if you know what it is.
Yes.
And if you have.
I guess I have.
Flavorful. And then you name. Strawberry sheep.
Real fun of
Okay.
Alright, does anyone need more question? I feel like
Oh,
most
sorry.
ready. So all I want you to do is, somebody from your group to share like your item and then some of the things that you found out. You don't have to get up, you don't have to do anything. The one thing that I do ask. Trevor, sheets ready?
Oh.
I got number. Please do me a favor, and like when your classmates are talking, give them your full attention. It's not to talk in front of other people, so make sure you're giving them your attention and be quiet for them. But anyone want to go first? Show what you have, hold it up, and okay. Yeah. Are you gonna model it too, or?
Yeah, I was going to. Alright, guys, so this is called a diaphragm, and I'm gonna demo how this works. This was like kind of an old school one. It's kind of, let me see, it has what, 87% effectiveness, so it's like not as effective with some of the methods that we have right now. But you know what? It got us where we are today, I guess. So so basically what you have to do is you take it, you have to wash it. I mean, you wash it after you use it, but like, let's just say it's nice to say you wash it with soap that is not perfumed. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take some spermicidal jelly and you're gonna just kind of fill it up with that. And you also have to make sure to rub it around the rim too, so that it just protects like the opening. So what you're gonna do is you can there's 3 positions you can insert this. You can go like this, you can squat, or you can like lay down.
Your commitment is beautiful.
And
No.
you're gonna have to insert it all the way up next to your cervix, right where like there's the opening to the fallopian tubes. To get it all the way up next to the cervix, like seen here. You have to kind of squeeze it and then just like, and then and then yeah, it's crazy because you have to leave it in for, so you can put it in, you're not supposed to wear it for more than 24 hours, but you can put it in like any time before sex. But if you leave it in for more than 6 hours and then have sex, you need to put new spermicide on it, which is crazy. And then you have to leave it in for 6 to 8 hours after intercourse. So you just have it in there.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because you can like, it said bowel movements won't interrupt it, which I thought was kind of crazy, but like you kind of bowel movement, but it apparently will stay in place while you're pooping. Yeah. So yeah, it just stays in there and does its thing. And then you take it out. And wash it.
Again, your commitment. So yeah, and as you said, like not the most effective anymore, right? These are like were popular for a lot of years. They were really big in like the 80s and 90s, and we had like better methods, but they still make them. Sometimes they are like custom made for you to fit like individually. Like they can be quite expensive too. I don't know if you looked up how much they cost, but at times they can be like hundreds of dollars depending on where you get them. Yeah.
Like that Faith and Sex in the City when Harry gets her stuck.
Yeah.
Someone has to take it out. Like
It would be
really shit like that.
No, it would be really unlikely that it gets stuck. So where things get stuck more likely is the anal canal. Because your anus has a lot of muscles in it. It's very strong like muscles. In the vaginal canal, I won't say it's impossible, but it's very unlikely. Yeah. So thank you, very nice. Yeah.
There's a show called Big Mouth,
Uh-huh.
and it's like a stupid show, but it kind of like teaches you things. And there was a part in an episode where there was a bunch of contraceptives, but like as characters. So there was an implant, and then there was like a condom,
You should send that to me.
and there was a
Oh,
pull-out method, and it was just like a random guy. But then the character for the diaphragm, that she was like old and dented, and she was like a cigarette mom, and she was like an old. It kind of showed that the diaphragms are old.
Yeah, I think that's a good stereotype of it. In a way, right? It was like very popular in like the 80s. It was like a big thing back then, which is why it's so ineffective now. And it's not really something that's used a lot. And that is a good portray. Maybe fitting. Yeah, you want to go next? Or do you guys want to go next? Oh, I thought you're ready.
Yeah, sure, but I also have a question, so. I guess with that, the condom would be like, not being able to get out.
Yeah, and it tends to be very irritating. Spermicides in general cause a lot of vaginal irritation.
Especially if it's inside.
Right, well, and think about too, like when you go to pull it out, like it could also like sperm at that point could enter as well. That's why I was supposed to say 80-70%, it's not,
Yeah.
and that's if used properly.
Right.
And the user like error rate is fairly.
Also, the thing we were talking about was like, you would have to like do love before you put it in.
Right.
Like, that could be fast.
And if you're not comfortable again touching yourself, this is something you have to like insert properly, and people like it's filled with spermicide that slippery, I mean, it just the amount of error is very high. Right?
Oh, it's like a menstrual.
A little bit, yeah, kind of like the menstrual cups that were like commonly used as well, yeah.
Now.
Those are, I mean, completely different like purpose, but yeah, like in look, they can be kind of similar. Okay, you wanna go next? You said you, okay, what item do you want?
So plan B,
Plan B.
so I think these are back in the 2000s, but this was expired in 2012 or 2008. But the dosage back in the day, they usually would have like 2 pill type of package, and it would be 0.75 milligrams each. Now it's like a 1 pill, and that's 1.5 milligrams now. Apparently, the cost of that 1 pill is $40 to $50, whereas the 2 pill pack now is 25 to 40. So I guess it should be on the convenience of anything.
Sure.
So it's like big one all over, but big two, like forget the second one, so it's cheaper. So 20, if you take it 24 hours after you have sex, it's 89% effective, 48 hours, then it's 85% effective, 72 hours, then it's 58% effective, but it's still effective 5 days after sex, but like obviously sex is not. The danger or cons, I guess I didn't know, but there's a myth also that there's like a weight limit thing with Plan B. If you like are over 155 pounds and you have to take like 2 pills or something like that, but that's not true. There could be cons of having fatigue, cramping, headaches, vomiting after you take it. The only benefits with this is just like no baby, and then it really does affect it.
And yeah, so it in effect, like what it does is in effect forces the menstrual cycle in a sense, it's forcing the lining to go so that there's nothing for that aches and complaints, right?
Yeah.
But you mentioned the weight, so the effectiveness drops, like if you, like there's like a correlation between weight and effectiveness, but the whole, like you can't take it if you're heavier, like
Yeah, right.
heavier, they say, it's kind of, right? But it's an emergency contraceptive method, so like if you had unprotected sex or failed for some reason, this is something you could consider after the fact to try and regulate them.
But I was wondering, the whole like, cause we took a question, we didn't know if it did affect the second one.
Yeah, it forces one to happen, basically, is what it's
Oh.
causing the lining to like,
Just
to shed, so that way there is no way to have an angle.
So, okay.
Yeah, but it won't affect you long term, like, it just that, like, cycle.
Wait, so do you just go right back to your regular menstrual cycle, or does it just like restart?
Yeah, so you would go back, it might affect the timing, like if you're someone who is typically really regular, it probably will make it like thrown off. But your body will like restart, like basically like jolt you into that phase of the menstrual cycle, and then you would go back.
Personal experience, I guess, and with my friend group, I was off for a good 3 months.
Yeah, it can take a bit for you to reset, right? Like I wouldn't say, even if you're someone, menstrual cycles are often irregular. A lot of people have like irregular menstrual cycles, period. But it can take, it can take a couple of cycles before things like go back to normal. Okay. Thank you. Want to go next? We have a couple more. Yeah, go for it.
All right. We have.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
We have. Well,
Oh, we have a model. I love it. Beautiful. Phone.
yes, it's a full phone that's inserted vagina, right? Which but there's no applicator.
Yeah, I think it used to be inside there.
Well,
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah.
It has to be used no more than 30 or so you have to use
you have very time. Um, then you have to avoid douching for 6 hours after intercourse to make sure you have the sperm size effective.
Well, typically use up to, wait, sorry. Oh, typical use, up to 86% effectiveness. Like if you consistently use it, and I think that's if you're only using this as your,
Right, is your only method, right?
that does not protect against STIs. There's a risk of like a burning sensation, it's a sensitive, spermicidal. I think the chemical it said it uses a typically non-oxygen iron. And then the price range is $15 to $20. Safe to use with condoms. And I think it said that it's kind of effective on its own, and you only use this as your contraceptive, but it's more effective.
Great, and really not popular anymore.
This one expired in 2006.
Yeah.
So-
Right? I tried to get a new sample of it, but it's really hard to get them sent. Like, they make me feel where every time I ask for new samples, they're like, for what? And I'm like, for my class, what do you think it's for? Like, I don't know. You gotta get an attitude every time. Our health center's been great about like the condoms, but those are very unpopular. A lot of irritation, a lot of side effects, and not very effective. But it is another method, right? Kind of killing the sperm, right? Using spermicide. No crutch, but like my knee sometimes buckles. And I'll like be walking and just right. It's not embarrassing at all, right? All right, you want to go next?
Yeah.
Okay.
So our strawberry sheet of oral pleasure, also known as the dental dam. So how you use it, you take it out of the package, it's like a sheet, it like looks like a sheet, you unfurl the sheet with the dental dam. You place it over the vagina or anus, smooth it out. And then you engage in the oral sex. And then you throw it away right after you succeed off the stuff. So where can you get this? Walmart, sex shops, Thailand, because it says it was made in Thailand, so I assume. Amazon,
Of course.
and online contraceptive sites like worldcondoms.org or and then pros of the deal. It's cheap, they're only 80 cents each. You can get a pack of 100 on Amazon for $80. They're colorful and fun.
And flavored.
They're flavored,
Yeah.
they're flavorful. This one's strawberry, delicious. And honestly, they're used to prevent like oral transmitted STIs. Cons, they look really stupid. They they can slip off. They're like really niche. Like in our group, I'm the only one who knew what they were, and that's only because I have a lot of lesbian friends. And then also it like reduces pressure. Like it's like you're putting a sheet over. Like it doesn't, yeah.
So yeah, they're really common, but within like little like niche like communities. So they're for oral sex. So you're basically putting a barrier, like, and you can use a condom for this, like a non-lubricated, non-spermicidal like condom. Spermicidal sounds like it's homicidal, right? Because everyone else, I'm like, it sounds aggressive to me. I don't know. But you can cut a condom and use it in the same way. But you're literally placing this little like square over like something to perform oral sex on it. You can also use saran wrap as a side note, as long as it is non-microwavable, right? If it's microwavable, it has small openings in it to allow it to be microwaved. Which means it won't work. But if it's non-microwavable, you can get festive holiday saran wrap and it works. It's not flavored like that, but if you get non-microwavable saran wrap, it works just as effectively. And it could be bigger, because those are actually kind of small, which is one con. They slip, like you said, they can be very slippery. Yeah.
Another con that I just thought of that I was thinking of because of the diaphragm, that's what it's called.
Yeah.
What?
Diaphragm, yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
because of the diaphragm, you said that the anus has a lot of muscles in it.
Yeah.
If you're gonna use a dental dam on the anus, you know, you're getting all up in there. I feel like it could get stuck.
I mean, typically it's like outside, it's not meant to be put inside.
Well, no, I know. but
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
if you're like,
could in theory.
Yeah,
I know
you just
exactly
go.
what it is.
Like.
Hold on to one end. Right, yeah, so I mean, it obviously has some pros and cons, they're much more commonly used in like, oral sex on a woman, like they're much more used in like lesbian relationships. But you can also get them from our health center, one of those little. Yeah, yeah,
It's educational plan.
sure.
Do you think people go to the dentist and ask for dental dams?
Can you imagine for dance in what? I mean, I see that, I mean, the name is a little like misleading, like I heard you say it's for your teeth, right? Like, I mean, and why wouldn't you think that, like when it says dental? So I mean, and I think that just comes from the mouth reference. Like, it's not meant for your teeth, it's literally meant to cover, so you're not putting your mouth on like someone else's like genitals.
I thought they did use dental dams for when like they're like doing people in the mouth.
that's
So-
different dental.
Yeah, and like totally different, so I can see how like someone might ask their poor dentist for like, do you have dental dams?
I
Yeah, I'm too late for that conversation, so I have to tell you too, I told you how I wasn't straight enough, right? Like I remember I told you that, my knee wasn't straight, my surgeon told me I need to work on being straighter. I went to my PT last week and he's like, you've done such a good job of being straighter. I was like, thank you, and I appreciate it. Like, and he laughed, my physical therapist understood the assignment, right? He got it. He was all like, I appreciate your efforts at being straighter. I was like, oh, I dress differently than ever. Random. That's great. Ivy, is that our last one? Okay, go ahead.
Naivete. It was created in 1909 by Dr. Richard. He inserted a ring made of silkworm guts into the uterus. And then by the 1920s and 30s, there's 3 different doctors, Carl Firth, Ernest Grattenberg, and Henry Ota, where they insulted the silkworm gut, that they put a black button to cover the cervix. And then Grattenberg actually invented the copper IUD, and he reduced pregnancy rate to 1.6%.
And the G-spot is named after Dr. Grafenberg. That's the full name for the G-spot, it's the Grafenberg spot. Random note for you, just in case you wanted to know that, right?
And then, in 1949, Dr. Mary Calvin put it in a gelatin capsule and then inserted it in her own uterus. And she created the like less painful way of inserting an IUD. By 1962, Dr. Jack Nichols created the loop, which is just a little string that comes out. Because apparently they don't have that, they have to kind of really pull the whole thing out of you. In 1969, Dr. Howard Tatum made it to a T, so it would cause less pain with cramping. And then in 1970, Dr. Antonio Spinigma created the T-shaped hormonal IUD. With progesterone, and it was approved for 1-year use, and it was on the market till the 2000s. In 84, the Paragard was approved for 10 years, and they were made of copper. They were sued for making people sick, having flows, infections, your body was treating it for an object and accepting it. And then in 2000, the menstrual releasing intrauterine system, Mirena, was FDA approved for 5 years. And then 2013, a different low dose hormonal system was approved for 12 years. The cons was that they're very, very expensive with and without insurance. But you can always, well, I don't know about always now, you could always go to Planned Parenthood and pay on a scale of your income and be able to receive either type of IUD, depending on your preference.
And it should be mentioned, the way that it works is it creates
So with the copper and with the hormonal, your body has an inflammatory response to it, which creates a toxic living environment for the sperm. And with the hormonal one, it also increases the, was it uterine, the mucus, yeah, which makes it harder for the sperm to swim.
Right, yeah, so it disrupts the whole uterine environment, right? And it's not that whole thing, it's hard to see, but it's only like about this big, it's like the part at the top.
It's this tiny little
That's it,
tape.
yeah. And it is like implanted inside of you and then you remove it like when you're done with it or you no longer need it or it's time.
And
But
they're
it is a
smaller
common-
now. This is
Yeah, that
They're
one is
smaller now.
much smaller. But yeah, these are IUDs. They used to be called IUCs, but now they're called IUDs. Yeah. Some of them are 5 years, some of them are 10, some of them are 12. It depends on the brand, and the style of them. Like there are a bunch of different types of them. Most of them are, I believe, 10 years now. There are some that are 12, there are some that are 5. It depends. But you can remove it early. So let's say you have a period of time where you don't want to get pregnant and then you have it put in and then you change your mind, you want to get pregnant, you can have it removed. So.
So my thing is like copper inside of you. I know like in order for it to rest in this box, and something like that, so no, for us.
Well, so the whole point is that it kind of creates an agitated environment, is like, it's kind of the premise of it. Yeah, it disrupts the environment of the uterus to make it harder for like an egg to implant, harder for sperm to swim, like it's like a thick cervical mucus that it creates. So it works in a couple of different ways to disrupt the environment. That's the whole goal of it, right? Yeah. Thank you, right? A clap for all of you, or we can clap for ourselves. Right? So obviously there's a few that weren't covered, just a couple of like other things to mention. And I talked about this a little bit with the, when we were talking about menstrual cycles, you can obviously use your menstrual cycle as a way to keep track to avoid pregnancy. And we'll talk about this more when we talk about pregnancy next time, using it to help you get pregnant. Remember that fertile window that we all have. But some people will count their like days, they'll count when they're ovulating, they look at cervical mucus, they look at the temperature. There's a very, very specific thermometer that you can use to take the temperature of like your vaginal canal to see when you're more likely to ovulate. So you can use some natural methods as well to help you. Less than effective ones, withdrawing before ejaculation. You have to love this name, coitus interruptus is the technical name. It feels like someone made that up, right? Coitus interruptus. So withdrawing before, yeah, like.
Should I have written on the previous slides?
I'm just kind of highlighting the last few things that weren't mentioned. And remember, it's all recorded. So if you need to go back and listen to it, but withdrawing before ejaculating is not an effective birth control method. Okay, there's a lot of sperm in pre-ejaculate, right? And so this whole idea is like kind of a very like ineffective one. Douching, also ineffective. The sperm are out of range at that point, right? You cannot reach those sperm. They've gone up and inside. When you are doing douching, you're like irrigating and like flushing out the vaginal canal. And the sperm after intercourse are up in like the fallopian tubes. They've gone up through the uterus, but you can't reach them anymore. So doing things like douching isn't going to help. Some people also have used the method of like, I'm not going to get pregnant because I'm breastfeeding, right? Your chances of getting pregnant when you're breastfeeding are way lower, but not impossible. You can still, you're not ovulating when you're breastfeeding most of the time, but it's still not like a reliable method. Yeah. Yeah. You sure? Okay. So just some like less than effective things, pulling out is not going to avoid pregnancy, and you still can get an STI very easily as well from that method. And then douching, and then when you're, I almost said ovulating, when you are breastfeeding, right, is also not an effective method. Yeah.
What's douching or like for the protect?
Sure, right. So it's for the vaginal canal, right? So you're basically flushing out. You use like a kit that you would buy. You can buy them at like anywhere that sells like Target has them, Walmart would have them, Amazon of course would have them, I'm sure. But what you're doing is you're basically like flushing out the vaginal canal. So it's almost like a little like squeeze bottle of sorts that you like flush out the canal with. It's not going to reach the sperm. So sometimes people do it for cleanliness, like to stay clean or like to avoid infection. But it's a very mixed like thing to do, right? It can also cause a lot of irritation. It's not necessarily necessary, like hygiene is a better like approach, but it's kind of like a more extensive version of like trying to maintain hygiene in the vaginal canal.
So when you talk about like prepping for anal sex and you say douching, is that?
Same idea, right? Like you're like rinsing, cleaning, flushing out the like, and really important with anal sex to have good cleanliness because there's so much bacteria in that region of the body, right? And so making sure that everything is clean, has been like flushed out or washed with like soap. If you're especially going to do oral like sex of any kind, right? You have the dental dam that you now know about, right? Or the saran wrap, non-microwavable. But yeah, so that's kind of highlighting that cleanliness. So there are a couple of their thoughts rather than like race through them. I'll pick up with them next time and then we'll move on to chapter 12, which is pregnancy. I love that chapter because I kind of can tell you like the story of our kids woven in to the methods. So I think it's kind of fun. Before you leave, a couple things. Bring back the item, right? Make sure you turn in your sheet with your names on it. And I have more candy if you want more candy. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the week and Halloween. 3 popsicles at the truck out there if you want to go
Oh
get.
my god, okay, oh my god, I have to grab, I need to grab that,
Let's go, popsicle time, right?
grab that.
Something I'll never fucking use.
I'll be right